Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I am your e-recruiter here at UC Merced. We are so thrilled that you are here back with us again for a virtual event. This is part of our bigger series called I'm a Bobcat. So no longer are you going to become a Bobcat, you already are one, and we are here to get you started on the right foot through that journey. Before we do get started to talk about the new students and all of the next steps, let me give you a couple of quick reminders about Zoom. If you need to adjust your audio settings, go ahead and do that down in the lower left corner of your screen. If at any point you'd like to adjust the size of your window, click on View Options in the upper portion of your screen, and you can zoom in to anything that's on our screen at that time. Lastly, and most importantly, we design these events specifically for you, and we want to make sure that we get to all of your questions. You should see a Q&A button on your screen. You can click on that at any time. Go ahead and send in those questions, and we are fully staffed behind the scenes with content experts to get to all of your questions tonight. So you may get that response during the presentation, but we also have reserved some time at the end for a live question and answer session. Make sure that you do pay close attention to this presentation, however, because we've tried to kind of proactively prepare this for you and get to your questions before you even ask them. So make sure you do pay close attention, but if there is something specific, feel free to send that our way. All right, once again, my name's Ricky Hill, the e-recruiter here. It is always so much fun to do these events with you, and of course, with all of my friends here. And at this time, I'd like to hand things over to my friend, Lisa Perry.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Perry, and I'm the director of the Students First Center. And in case you don't know what the Students First Center is, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. We are your campus one-stop. So our team are cross-trained in admissions, financial aid, registration, and billing. And we know a little bit about almost everything else on campus. So if you have a question and you don't know where to start, we're your best option. And if you have a question about any of the items that I said, admissions, financial aid, registration, and billing, we are definitely your place to start. I see somebody has already found the QA option. And so our team of Students First Center staff members will get on that and start answering those questions. But I have more information for you tonight that I hope gets you prepared to become a Bobcat. So let me tell you a little bit about how this is going to go tonight. So I'm going to go through a handful of slides, not too many, and I'm going to go month by month because there's key milestones each month that we need you to be paying attention to. And we've given you lots of tools to make sure that you're staying on track. And I want to go over those tools tonight in addition to the dates and deadlines. And then I'm going to give you kind of some self-help tools for financial aid as well. At the end, we're going to save lots of time for live Q&A. So my team, if they don't answer your question immediately in the live Q&A, they might mark it for answer live. And that just means that I'm going to answer it live, or one of our other team members is going to answer it live towards the end. So it's not that we're ignoring you. It's just we think your question is probably something that a lot of other people might want to know the answer to. And so we're going to answer it live for everyone to hear. All right, ready to get started. So here we go. This is May. May has very few dates and deadlines left in it. So there's just a few things on here that we want you to know about. And as you know, May is almost over too. So May 1st has already passed. But for those of you who have their own health insurance and need to waive out of the UC's health insurance, that health insurance waiver is already open. And I recommend working on it sooner rather than later. You want to have your parents probably with you, or whoever is the primary on the insurance with you, because it's going to ask you a lot of detailed questions about the type of coverage you have. And if you have questions about that, our health center has a really helpful website, which my friend Chris can drop in the chat, or you can give the health center a call. They have a specific line for insurance where they can assist you with questions. So that's one thing that's open and ready for you to do in the month of May already. One other thing, let me back up real quick, that I do recommend that you might want to consider throughout this presentation is you might want to log into your Connect account while I'm talking. So if you're not sure what Connect is, that's our student portal. So it's connect.ucmerced.edu. You should have already been in there because that's where you got your admissions decision. That's where you submitted your SIR. If you're a financial aid recipient, that's where you've seen your financial aid. And so right now, the best place that you might want to go to in there if you want to follow along is to log into Connect, go to the My Merced section, and then click on the My Checklist. So you can see what's on your checklist as compared to what I'm going to show up here. Okay, so moving also through my list, on May 4th, we sent out our first new student newsletter. We titled it May the 4th Be With You because we sent you all the things we need you to do. If you didn't read that newsletter yet, it's in your inbox and you probably want to go through and read it because there's really good information in it. And then the other item you see on here is the event that you're at right now, the Next Steps webinar. And I put that on there because we're going to be doing webinars all through the summer that if you attend those, you're going to be on track and you're not going to miss anything this summer. We're going to guide you through it. And then finally, the last item on here is that at the end of the month, online housing, its room selection opens, and those are based on time tickets. So if you're planning to live on campus this year, the first step was to fill out your housing application. And then the second step was to actually sign your contract. And then once you sign your contract, you're going to be assigned a time ticket for when you can start selecting your room. So the earlier you do those two things, the earlier your time ticket will be. So kind of exciting. It's a new feature we're offering this year. All right, that's the month of May. One other thing too is we will be emailing out this this presentation, the recording. So you can easily get back to it. We also have all of these dates and deadlines in a handy handout that we can email out as well. So don't worry about needing to screenshot everything. We're going to get all of this information to you. It is also all listed on the website you see down kind of in the middle. I can't talk, in the middle of my screen that says admitted.ucmerced.edu. If you go to that website and then click on next steps, everything I'm going to go over in this presentation is going to be in that website as well. Okay, so we've made it to the month of June. June 1st is our new SIR priority deadline. Everyone on here should have SIR'd, so that doesn't really apply to you. So you can move on to the rest of the dates and deadlines. If you are someone who needs a housing accommodation, that accommodation is due June 1st. And I believe you need to be working with our Student Accessibility Services office before you can submit the accommodation with housing. They do have information on that on their website. And if anybody has specific questions on that, you can give us a call tomorrow or drop it in the Q&A. On your checklist, so see how the next one down says priority financial aid document deadline. If you logged in like I recommended, you might want to look at your checklist right now and see if the Office of Financial Aid is asking for any documents from you. They may have a deadline of June 1st. And so that's a really important deadline to be aware of. Missing some of these dates and deadlines can have adverse consequences. So we don't want you to miss them. Hence why we're doing this webinar and all the emails we send out. If you have a deadline that's approaching and you have questions about it, please call us sooner rather than later. We want to help you. We want to make sure you're missing those deadlines, and we want to guide you through this. The next thing that's happening on June 1st are the placement exams. So as a first-year student, there are 4 placement exams you may need to take. There's the writing readiness exam, the computer science and engineering exam, the math placement exam, and the chem placement exam. On our placement exam website, which you can get to from that admitted student page, if you read each of those little sections about the placement exam, it tells you exactly who needs to take which placement exam. And it gives you some tips on how to actually take the exam. The other item that's going to happen next is June 2nd. If you haven't already had the opportunity to do this, the first year major change form closes. So as a first year student, you do have an opportunity to change your major. And if you haven't done so already and you need to change your major, that form is due no later than June 2nd. All right, moving to June 5th. So June 5th is the SLR deadline. That's Statement of Legal Residence. That is not required for everyone. So you only need to complete that if it's in your checklist. So again, if you're logged in right now, you might want to check your checklist and see if that one is coming up for you. And then your next newsletter will come out on June 5th as well. It will have all of this information in it and start prepping you for the month of July, as well as prepping you for new student registration, which you can see happens down at the bottom of this month. As I talked about earlier, there's 2 steps to applying to live on campus, the application and then the contract. And so those are happening, the deadlines for those are June 6th and June 7th. The next item you're going to need to do this summer is attend orientation, which is an exciting opportunity to revisit campus, meet other students, get live help with other things you might need to know, and really connect with our campus. Those orientation sessions happen in the month of July, but the month of June is when you need to register by. So the dates for orientation happen on a bunch of different days. And so you get to choose which day you want, but the spaces are first come, first serve. So if you have travel plans or a work schedule that you need to work around, I recommend signing up sooner rather than later so that you can get the date that works best for you and your family. All right, moving through June 13th, Summer Edge. So we have a summer session program called Summer Edge. It is an opportunity for students to take writing and math that, and I'm not going to lie, this is a topic that I'm not super familiar with. So I'm going to say as much as I can. And then if you have more questions, we can get you information. But Summer Edge focuses on writing and math. And I think one other class. And basically, it's to help prepare you for the courses that you're going to take next fall. So if you are someone who thinks you need a little bit more help in writing or a little bit more help in math, you can take those classes this summer, and then you get a second chance to retake the writing readiness exam and the math placement exam if you weren't happy with your scores the first time around. So kind of a cool little option we have this summer. And I think it's all virtual. Someone correct me on here if I'm wrong, but I believe it's virtual. Okay, then moving on down, on that same day, we have another webinar that you probably want to attend. That one is called Financing Your University Education. That one is going to have a team from our Students First Center kind of area. It's going to have a financial aid representative. It's going to have Students First Center staff members. It's going to have registrar staff members. And so we're going to go in more depth about your bill, your statement of legal residence, veterans benefits, financial aid on that one. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks tonight about financial aid, but that one's going to dive even deeper. If you're an international scholar, there are some documents that you might need to submit. And so those are due June 15th. And then on June 21st, we have a registration preparation webinar that you definitely are going to want to attend. We're going to kind of do a deep dive into what the course registration process is going to look like, and then do live Q&A just like we're doing on this session. And then very exciting, on June 26th, new student course registration begins. If you're logged into your Connect account, you can actually go to the My Merced section and then click on My Registration, and you can actually see your registration time appointment already. So you might want to go in there, mark it on your calendar so you know, remember what time you should log on and register. And then on June 27th, that's when you will start getting access to on-campus jobs and can start applying. So I know that was a lot in June. You're going to be happy on the next slide because July is much smaller. Yay. So June's got the most stuff going on, but July has a few things that you need to know about. So your final official transcripts are due, and so are your final test scores. So the first one is due on July 1st, which are your transcripts. If you are in school right now, you might want to make sure that you order your transcripts before you graduate, but make sure when you order them that you tell your school it needs to have your final grades on it. Sometimes people go in and order them early and they forget to say that, and then we get mid-year grades. We can't accept mid-year grades. So make sure that you're very clear with your registrar's office that you need the final grades on there and that they're due to us by July 1st. It's just easier if you order them before you leave, because some schools close for the summer and then you're going to have to go to your district office to order them. All right, and then again, another newsletter is going to come out in July. It's going to include all this July information and then also start prepping you for August. And then on July 13th, we're going to do a health webinar. So that webinar is going to go more in depth over the health insurance waiver. Because remember I said it's already open. It's not due till August. So in July, we're going to do a live session, again, like a demo of how to fill it out with Q&A at the end. And then they're also going to talk about the required immunizations. Okay, and then on July 15th, that's when your test scores are due. So not everybody is going to have test scores, but if you took AP, IB in high school and you want to send those in to try and get credit at UC Merced, like some of them might need a prereq for you, some of them might bring in units. You'll want to have those official scores sent to us, and they need to be here by July 15th. And then finally, what I talked about earlier, July is when orientation happens. So that's when you're going to be coming to campus again, and we will all be there. So you can come talk to us in person if you have questions on that date. Okay, August. So school starts in August, move-in happens in August, the fee payment deadlines happen in August. So there's not a ton of dates and deadlines you need to be aware of in August. But the few that you do need to be aware of are like big ones. So the first one is the health insurance waiver closes on August 1st. So make sure you go to that webinar in July if you have questions, and then you won't have any problem with that deadline on August 1st. And then on August 2nd, your final newsletter is going to come out, and it's going to really prepare you for moving on to campus and, talking about like what you should expect, getting ready for welcome week, how you're going to get involved in campus, buying your textbooks, things like that. It's going to be a really fun, exciting newsletter. And then on August 3rd, we're going to have a billing webinar. So that's another opportunity to ask more questions about your bill, your financial aid, and making sure that you're not missing that fee payment deadline, or that you're basically prepared for that fee payment deadline, which you can see happens on August 16th. And then August 9th is when we're going to have a move-in webinar. What Scott does on that webinar is he talks in detail about what the move-in experience will be like, where to park, what to bring, how we're going to help move you in. He really goes into detail on preparing you for that experience. So I do recommend coming to that webinar as well. And then August 17th through August 20th is when move-in begins. And again, you get to choose your move-in time. And so he will talk about that on that move-in webinar, but I believe you'll be able to choose your move-in time before that. And then August 23rd, that is when school begins. That is when you are going to walk into that classroom. You are going to be prepared because you didn't miss any of these dates and deadlines, and you're going to be ready to be a Bobcat. Okay, my next slide, I do recommend logging in for this one. So I'm going to pause for a moment and let people kind of get to where I recommend you go. So I would recommend that you go to, and Chris, maybe you could drop this in the chat. This is going to be about financial aid. So if you have questions about financial aid, I want you to visit financialaid.ucmerced.edu. When you get there, if you had already been logged into your Connect account, it should know who you are when you get to this page. If you were already logged in, it's going to prompt you to log in. But over on the top left-hand side, you should see your name and your student ID. And then what this does is, because it knows it's you, it's going to populate with your specific information. So I have to be clear too, this is not your bill, but this is a way for you to start forecasting your bill. So a lot of people call us this time of year and they want to know, how much is it going to cost me to go to school? Well, this is the best way for you to figure that out right now. So I'm going to briefly go through this, and then you can be looking at your own. So you're looking at your own information along the way. Okay, so section A is going to populate with your potential charges. So you've got your fees and tuition. If you're a non-resident of California, number 2 might be populated for you. If you're living on campus, number 3 is populated for you. Number 4 defaults and populates for people, but this is an interactive tool. So you can put your cursor on the fall column on line 4, and you can delete that 960 out, replace it with a 0, hit enter, and then your bottom number down here is going to auto recalculate for you. The other thing too, you know, the housing and meal plan one, it's kind of an average. So if you know the specific room and meal plan that you want, you could go to the housing website, get those specific numbers, and then you could plug those real numbers in here to get an even more accurate kind of forecast of what your bill is going to look like. Then in section B, if you're a financial aid recipient, these columns will populate with any grants and scholarships that you've been offered. And then section C will populate if you've accepted any loans. Nobody has accepted any loans right now for 23-24. You do not have the ability to start accepting loans until after July 1st. So this should be 0 for everyone. And then down here at the bottom, you've got your fall column and your spring column, and then your total academic year column. In the fall column, so if this was me, I am clearly not getting any grants and scholarships, and I haven't accepted any loans. So this red number down here is what I need to pay out of pocket that fall semester. Let's say that number doesn't work for me, but I have been offered loans in my financial aid section. I could come over here and start plugging in those loan numbers to get this bottom number down to where I need to be. The other option too is that we do offer a payment plan, which breaks your payments into 4. So you could do a combination of things. You could do your grants and scholarships and then a payment plan. You could do your grants and scholarships and maybe 1 or 2 loans and then a payment plan. Or maybe you can do grants and scholarships and 1 loan and then a payment plan. It's going to be different for everybody. So I recommend that you start kind of playing around with this tool and then calling us or scheduling a Zoom appointment if you want more help with it. And Chris, could you drop the Zoom appointment scheduling in chat too? All right, so moving on from financial aid. Now I'm just going to give you some tips. I have 2 pages of tips, and then we're going to get into questions. Okay, so transcripts. I already said this now. Make sure that you're ordering them before you leave your school, and make sure that you're asking for final grades on those documents. My course updates. So if you're logged into your Connect account and you go to the My Merced section, there is a section that says My Course Updates. That needs to be used if you either changed your course schedule. So when you filled out your admissions application, you said you were going to take these courses in the spring, and now something has changed. You need to report that in the My Course Updates. If once the semester ends, if you get below a C, you need to also report that in the My Course Updates so that we can evaluate your overall admissions file and make sure that's not going to have any impact on anything. Okay, and then my kind of last tips is we call this anti-melt campaign. And I know that's not a term that everybody knows, but basically it describes this very concentrated effort that we're doing to help you all get through all the things you need to do. We want you to know that we're there for you to guide you through all of this. And we're trying to really be upfront and tell people that we are here to help, and just come to everything that we're telling you, and then you're not going to miss anything. It's going to be easy peasy. Like I said, the live webinars, I recommend attending all of those if you can. And again, we do record them so you can get to them at a later date if you need to. Wiser. So it has a different name to you all, but it's a social media tool that we purchased. And I think they're called Bobcat Dens, right, Ricky? Or Chris, whoever's on there. It's the Bobcat Den. You all should have gotten an invite to that. It's a social platform that's private to newly admitted and CERD students only at UC Merced. And we've got staff and students that are behind the scenes helping you connect with one another. So it's a place for students to meet each other. Parents were also invited into it. They have their own page inside there where the parents can meet other parents. And then it's also a place to ask questions and to get information And then our student team that's assisting in there, they kind of post fun things that are going on all the time to help you start connecting with our campus. And then, like I said, we've got all of that just-in-time support. So read your newsletters when they come out, come to those webinars, ask questions if you need to. And then housing, don't miss your dates and deadlines for housing. If you're not living on campus, start looking now for off-campus options. I think our off-campus website has some really good resources and tips on it if you want to go on there. And then again, I'm just going to say it one more time, ask for help. We are totally here for help. All right, Ricky, I know I can see that there are questions building up, so I am going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm gonna get ready to take those.
All right, let's jump right in. And just in case you have not yet sent in your question, you've got plenty of time. Go ahead and click on the Q&A button, send that in, and we will get to it right now. All right, the first question has to do with parking. So we'll take this right off the top. Can first-year students park on campus?
So not everybody can, but some of you will be able to. Some of you may have gotten an email titled Golden Bobcat Experience. You probably want to check your inbox for that and read it. And then Chris, could you drop the link to TAPS? There is a form that you need to fill out on the TAPS website if you are interested in getting an on-campus permit, either as a commuter first year or as an on-campus resident first year. I believe it's first come, first serve. And then after that, then they're looking for like students who really need them. So like, do you have a medical accommodation? I need a vehicle because I need to drive myself to a medical appointment every day at 4 o'clock. That would be something you'd want to put in this appeal. So I would start looking at that sooner rather than later.
Very good. And now, is Summer Bridge by invitation only?
We don't have Summer Bridge this year. We only have Summer Edge.
I was thinking that might be what this person is asking, is actually Summer Edge.
I think it's open to everyone. I don't know. Chris, do you know more about Summer Edge?
Yeah, Summer Edge is open to everyone. To my knowledge, I don't think we have Summer Bridge going on this summer, but Summer Edge is open to everyone. And on the link that is Summer Edge info in our chat, that's where you can do the interest form for Summer Edge.
Very
also,
good.
This is Chris. Let's let him introduce himself.
I was just going to say that. Go ahead, Chris.
My name's Chris Green. I'm a UC Merced alumni, and I work with the Students First Center.
Thanks for joining us on screen. It's always nice to have multiple faces up here for our audience to see and hopefully meet in person one day. All right, let's see the next question. So housing applications, those are still open?
They are, yes. Let me go back to my slide real quick. I think the deadline is the 6th of June now. Yes, June 6th, and then you need to have your contract signed by June 7th.
Very good. And I know we've been dropping links over into the chat. So if you guys want to just hop over there, you may have already seen that. If not, go ahead and start clicking on those now. It should just open a new browser window for you, and then you can take a look at it now, or you can wait until the end of our program here and definitely bookmark some of those and those dates and deadlines. Mark your calendars for those as well. All right, so can we talk a bit about the health insurance again? I know you touched on that, and we have the waiver. So just so that our audience understands, if they don't apply for the waiver, are they automatically charged?
They are, and they will be automatically enrolled in our health insurance plan, which is actually a really good health insurance plan. So you might want to, whoever your primary insurance person is, you might want to sit down with them and compare your current coverage, if you have it, with the UC Merced coverage to see if it's a better deal to take ours. Just something to consider.
Definitely. All right, the next question. You mentioned the newsletters. What can students expect to get in those newsletters?
Yes. Okay, so the newsletters are going to remind you about all the things I talked about on this webinar. So all the dates and deadlines, but then they're going to talk about also fun things on campus. So like the one in August will definitely highlight Welcome Week and Move In. Let's see, what else have we been putting in there? My brain is drawing a blank right now. Well, I can tell you there are fun graphics in there. On May the 4th, we dressed Rufus as a Jedi.
Yes. That was
If
awesome.
nothing else, you needed to open it to see Rufus as a Jedi.
Definitely. Okay, next question. I signed my housing contract. So how do I select the living, learning community and the meal plan?
Okay, I do not know the answer to that, but we
Okay.
did a webinar 2 nights ago
Yes, we did.
that totally walks you through that. Have we sent that out yet?
I don't believe it's been sent, but it is on our website. So I will link to it right now.
Yay.
We will drop it over into the chat box. It's an awesome event. Of course, I'm biased. Lisa and I were both there. So of course it was amazing, but also our housing expert, Scott, was there and he did a fabulous job explaining everything. So you guys should really take a moment and look at that, and you can skip through if you want to, fast forward until the right slide that is of interest to you. And then of course you can always watch the whole thing too. All right, let's see what else do we have here. Can we talk about the SIR? So we know that that's the statement of intent to register. We know the deadline is June 1st, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about that? Maybe the fee that's associated or how to apply for a waiver?
Yeah, so it's $250, a $250 fee. It is not an extra fee. So if you pay that $250 now, basically your bill in August is going to be $250 less because that's just going to apply to your tuition. So it's not an extra fee. Some people automatically qualify for a deferment, which doesn't waive it. It just means that it's not due now and it's giving you more time for your financial aid to come in the fall and apply and help pay for that bill.
Fantastic.
I think that answered the question.
Yes, absolutely. Next question. Are there on-campus jobs available for first years who are not part of federal work study?
Chris, I'm going to let you answer that because you can tell people what you do.
Yeah, so Lisa in the slide tonight went over the date where you guys will get access to something called Handshake. That's where you can log in and essentially see student employment jobs that you can filter them and see if they're either federal work study or non-federal work study. You could see who the hiring manager for each job is as well, and you upload your resume and cover letter. And then from there, if the hiring manager is wanting an interview with you, they'll reach out to you and schedule a interview with you. I supervise some of our student assistants within the Students First Center. And so Handshake is where you can log in to essentially see on-campus jobs and read more about them and see what interests you that maybe you want to apply to. And you can see them that are either work study or non-federal work study, even you can filter them.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And this is kind of in the same vein. So how does applying for work study, how does someone go about doing that? Kind of similar to what you just explained, but can you maybe talk about the difference?
Yeah. Either or, it really doesn't make much of a difference to the student. Either whether you're a work study student or a non-federal work studies job, you're receiving the funds in the form of a paycheck every 2 weeks based upon how much or how little you may have worked during that time period and your hourly wage. And so when you're applying for jobs, you'll see the wage, you'll see, is it work study, non-federal work study, or does it matter? And then from there, you'll receive those funds in the form of a paycheck every 2 weeks based upon your working. If you are someone who's been offered work study and you don't apply to or earn a federal work study job, you just wouldn't earn those funds.
Very good. Thanks, Chris. Let's go ahead and see what other questions we have here. So how can I go ahead and pick my classes if I'm a transfer student?
Okay, I'm on that one. I'm going to show you all a website really quick. So this website is just advising.ucmerced.edu. Down here where it says see an academic advisor, this is how you can first of all figure out how to make an appointment, visit with your advisor. If you are a transfer student, you belong in one of the schools. And if you're part of engineering or natural sciences, your advisors have already been reaching out to you. And if they haven't, they will be very shortly. If you're part of SHAW, which is Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts, as a transfer student, they'll be reaching out to you in June. They will basically, as a transfer student, you're going to get an email in mid-June that's going to tell you what classes they recommend you take based on your academic history. Now, for our first years, you all report to the Bobcat Advising Center for academic advising. And Bobcat Advising will be sending out an email on June 1st, letting you know who your summer advisor is and how to make an appointment with them. And then throughout the month of June, and this applies to everyone, throughout the month of June, we're going to be sending videos that are going to start teaching you how to register. And then again, on the 21st, we're going to do that live webinar about how to register. And then on the 26th, you're going to actually start registering. The other thing we're going to do during the week of the 26th from 8:30 to 3 every day, we're going to have a Zoom open all day long. And we're all going to be on there and we're going to be ready to answer any questions that you still have about registration. So again, we're going to guide you through it. But if you are someone who wants to know, like, now, what should I be taking? You can go on and look at our catalog, because your catalog will really guide you through what the requirements are for your degree. And you can start looking early about the potential classes you might be taking. You just can't register yet, but you can start looking. I think that was a long answer to your question.
Perfect. Always more information is always better. And the visual is fantastic. Okay, the next question. Someone is letting us know that they didn't receive the May 4th email, but that they did complete their, I'm sorry, yes, I did complete the waiver for my health plan and received an email saying that it was approved on May 1st, but on my checklist, it indicates that it's not completed. Can we help them with that?
Yeah, Chris, I see you shaking your head. Answer that one.
Yeah, so for new students, the health waiver, unfortunately, will stay on your checklist until you register. A couple business days after you end up registering for classes, the checklist will recognize that you're a registered student and that will update. In the meantime, just hang on to your confirmation, and that should come off shortly after you register. In regards to getting the May 4th newsletter, I think we could still get that info out to you though.
If you email the Students First Center, we can just send you a copy of it too.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for that. Let's hop over to our next question. So this person is letting us know that they are a high schooler, but they've already earned 3 associate degrees. So first of all, congratulations. That's incredible. So that's an amazing job. They're wondering, they have a very good question. Will they be considered a transfer student, or are they a freshman, a first year?
So by units, you are a transfer student. For advising purposes, this first semester, you will still report to the Bobcat Advising Center, I believe. Why don't you also email us, the Students First Center, so that we can double check that and get you in contact with the right office just in case, because that is a great question.
Fantastic progress already. 3 associate degrees. That's great. Okay, the next question. What classes do first year freshmen have to take? Is there a mandatory list that they have to go by?
Chris, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, that information will be available in your catalog. So your catalog will be kind of like your roadmap, your resource to kind of see what's outlined in terms of both general education for all of UC Merced and also major requirements to get done as a continuing UC Merced student. You'll see that in your catalog. And the catalog for 23-24 should be available around June 1st.
Yeah.
That in combination with your My Degree Path will really show what's outstanding. And we'll go over that a bit more in our registration webinar, how to run your My Degree Path and kind of see what's outstanding in terms of degree requirements. But that's going to be essentially your roadmap of courses to complete as a UC Merced student.
Since you brought it up, do you want to tell them real quick about how cool My Degree Path is?
Yeah,
we didn't have that in class or in school when I was in college. That's how old I am.
My Degree Path is really cool because it helps to show what's outstanding as a student in terms of your progress to your degree. It'll show like a pie chart of what do you have that's completed and what's outstanding as well. And it also allows you to run what if audits, Like, let's say you're thinking of changing your major and you want to see what's going to apply to that new major. You can run a what if audit through My Degree Path and then see really what's counting already for that new major. So that in combination of your catalog and your academic advisor are going to be the best tools and resources in terms of what do I have outstanding in terms of my degree.
Thank you.
Very good. Then Lisa, can we go ahead and pop up some of those deadlines again when you have a moment? Are you going
On
now? You are there now. Okay. Yeah. So we had a request to bring up some of those. If we can do that.
Yeah, so here are the June deadlines again. I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I see popping up over there by pulling this back up. So transfer students, the week before June 26th, you're going to get an email telling you what courses your advisor is recommending you should take. First year students, you are not going to get an email that says these are the courses that you need to take. Instead, that tool that Chris was telling you about, the My Degree Path, is going to be populated with all the information you need to drag and drop your own schedule. And again, throughout the month of June, we're going to be sending out videos on how to do that. There were 2 videos to get you started on this kind of registration journey in that May 4th newsletter. And then more are going to come out that month of June. And then again, on the 21st, we're going to do a live webinar to also prepare you. And then the week of the 26th is when you register, and we'll also have live support from 8:30 to 3:30 all week long. So we got you.
All right. Let's see what else. Oh, we did have a question come in about the Golden Bobcat program. So Lisa, I'm not sure if you wanted to share a bit more about that. This person was saying that they received an email about it and they had questions on whether or not it was free or if there's fees associated with it. I know that everyone kind of varies on what they were sent.
Yeah, so everybody's email is tailored to you. So if you have questions about something specific in your email, you should give us a call tomorrow or email us so that we can go over your specific options. Some of your emails are going to talk about parking. Parking's not free, but it is something that's mentioned in one of those emails. And then the other stuff that's kind of mentioned in there are free opportunities, but a lot of the stuff is first come, first serve. So definitely if you got an email about anything like that, because they're tailored to individual people, please give us a call or email us.
Perfect. And the next question, how do I create a UC Merced email?
Yeah, great question. I saw that one pop in too. Okay, remember I asked everybody to go to your Connect account. So go to your Connect account, log in, go to My Merced, and at the very top, your email will be there. I think I have mine pulled up real quick. So let me show you. Mine is a staff view, but it's still very similar to what you all are going to see. So this is the My Merced section for a staff, but yours is also very similar. Like it's going to say your name right here. And then at the top, you have your quick tools and here's your email. All you got to do is click on it and answer a few questions.
That sounds easy enough. All right, let's see. We are winding down in some of our questions. So if you guys haven't sent in your question yet, if you've been hanging out in the background and listening in, just think about it. This is your opportunity right now. We are fully staffed. We have a ton of people behind the scenes that are getting you these questions as well. So go ahead and click on the Q&A button, send in those questions while you have our direct attention right now. So let's see what else we have that we haven't gotten to. There are quite a few questions related to LLCs and housing and roommate selection. As Lisa mentioned earlier, we did just recently this week have a webinar specific about housing. It was Housing 101. So I'll make sure that we drop that over into the chat box again in case it's gotten lost with some of the other links, but definitely that is worth your time to go ahead and watch that. And the great thing about on-demand replays is that you can fast forward to your part of it. So just exactly, just hit skip until you see the slide that may pertain to you, or you can watch the entire thing. Let's see what else we have here.
Oh, I see a fun one. Can you rent scooters on campus?
Oh,
you cannot rent them on campus.
but you can have them.
But you can have them. I ride day from my car to my office, and it makes me so happy. Actually, Merced doesn't have any scooter rentals, but they are allowed on campus.
It's so fun to watch everyone zipping around, especially since our campus has practically doubled in size. Now there's like a legitimate reason to actually need some type of transportation. Before you could just get anywhere within a minute or two, right? Okay, next question. How long will it take for my transcripts to be added into my degree path?
I think the goal is to have all of that information in there by the first week of June, so that by mid-June, everything is loaded in there. The registrar's office and the admissions office is working furiously behind the scenes to add in all of the academic history that we are getting from students right now.
And our next question has to do with the SLR. Can we talk about that? Tell people what that's about?
Yeah. So the SLR is your statement of legal residence. And if you didn't provide enough information on your admissions application for us to determine that you qualify for in-state tuition, then we have to have you answer a few more questions so that we can determine if you meet our California residency requirements. It's going to ask questions about like how long you've lived in California, how long your parents have lived in California. Do you have a California driver's license? Do you vote in California? It's trying to establish how long you've been physically present in our state, because the way the UC system determines if you qualify to pay in-state tuition is kind of dependent on some of that. We have a very thorough website if you'd like to read all about it, but we can't give you a residency determination until you finish that SLR. So if you have that SLR on your checklist, do it sooner rather than later so that we can get you that information. And feel free to read our very thorough website if somebody wants to drop that in the chat.
Very good. And where do we send in our official transcripts?
Oh, you're going to send them to admissions. Let me get you that information really quick. I will put it in the chat.
And a question came in, and I don't know the exact answer, so I'm actually cheating and Googling, fully transparent here. I don't know the exact answer. Lisa, you might know, because I know you've been here since the beginning. Do you know how large our campus is? Square feet, acres?
I saw that question come in too. I thought that was a great question. I do not.
I almost skipped it because I was like, I don't know the answer, but it's a fantastic question that we should know the answer to. On Google, what it's telling me, which anyone can do, but it is saying that our campus size is about 815 acres. I'm not sure if that's absolutely correct. I am fairly certain though that we do have that someplace. So between now and when this goes up, I will try my best and find that information so we can include it, because that's a fun fact. We should make that a trivia question in orientation, as well as when did we open?
Yeah. I posted the where do I send my transcript information in the chat, but remember that fancy website I told you about, the admitted.ucmerced.edu? Well, this is what it looks like. And here are your next steps. And if you go to submit admissions documents, which is step 12, it has that all written out for you too.
Very good. And then now, if people are not on the swim team, can they still use the swimming pool? So that's open to others, right? It's not just like the polo team.
Yeah, Chris, you want to answer that one? I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, I believe like students, staff, and even faculty can request usage of the pool. Let me try to find that URL and I'll put it in the chat.
And let's see. Someone is asking if they can waive the fee for orientation.
You know, that is a really good question. And I want to say there are some fee waivers available, but I'm not 100% positive. You should definitely contact the orientation office and I can get you that contact information.
Perfect. Yeah, we can go ahead and drop that over into the chat. I know that there's also a really good FAQ page for orientation. I know that that's been dropped over into our chat as well. So that's another good way to see just kind of that general information about orientation. All right, let's see. We're getting a few more questions in here. Do we need to be invited to actually take the placement exams? This person is saying that they've only been able to see computer science and chemistry.
You have to have a code, but they have been emailing out that code. It was in the newsletter. You got an email on it, so you need to search your inbox for placement exams. And they have a really good FAQ as well. It's also linked from that admitted student website. Go to placement exams and then click on each exam and read the page.
All right, this one is coming from someone who says that they are a pre-med student. They're asking if they need to meet with both the academic and the pre-health advisor before they select classes.
Yeah, you know what? That is a caveat that I should have said earlier. Okay, so there are different types of pre-health students that you could be. If you are in the BS to MD program, then you will be working with a different advisor and have a different advising and registration experience. If you are in the Health Scholars program, you will also be getting a little bit more unique registration experience. If you are a pre-health major, not either of those two programs, but just a separate, I'm going on the pre-health track, then you will follow all the registration instructions that I have already provided tonight.
Fantastic. And now on that same line of academic advising, someone's asking us, do they actually have an opportunity to talk with someone, or is it all done through email or pre-generated, pre-written type emails?
So after June 1st, if you're a first year, after June 1st, you're going to get an email telling you who your assigned advisor is and how to get in touch with them. A lot of them have like virtual hours during the summer, but when you come to orientation, there will also be time during the day where you can talk to people face to face if that's the experience you'd rather have. It's totally up to you. Transfer students, I believe you can utilize your transfer advisors kind of drop-in hours right now, and then I think they will be available most orientations, but you might want to reach out to, if you want to meet with them in person, you might want to reach out to them specifically and ask, or use their appointment scheduling.
Very good. Another question coming in. How many freshmen will we have in the year of 2023 in the fall?
Okay, I don't know the answer to that.
That is the $1 million question.
We'll know closer to enrollment in August. The
Yes.
answer to that, I would say, because the SAR is still open. If you guys have like friends or high school friends that are still thinking of UC Merced, it's still open through June 1st. If they're still leaning toward UC Merced or weighing out options, but we'll know closer toward like August, September exactly how many how big is this new class, I would say.
Yes, definitely. And do we have a number for the total number of students that we currently have?
I don't. It's in the 9,000 somewhere. It's on our website. Let me see if I can find it.
And it's also noted, we have a lot of fun facts in some of the previous events that we've had. So if anyone that's on with us right now, again, we have a great YouTube channel that has a ton of replays from all of the webinars that we've done. Of course, we have hundreds that are listed on YouTube, but more specifically over the last couple of months from February through now, all of I would say dozens, but there's even more than that. There's probably 50 webinars at least that we have done. And a lot of those are for the next step. So they're similar to this, but we give a lot of demographic information. Some of that does include the number of students that we have, which I believe is around the 9,100 range. It also talks about fun things to do in Merced and demographics about our weather here and the landscaping and everything that you can do in this area, because we're close to Yosemite National Park. So if you did miss some of those, definitely hop over to our events page and you can take a look at some of those. Specifically, the ones I'm talking about do have the words next steps in them. And if you're a transfer student, you'd go to that one. If you're a first year freshman, you'd go to the first year freshman next steps replay. And we'll make sure that that link is over there as well in chat. We are getting close to the end. We can see if there's any other questions that we haven't touched on yet, or if there's any that Chris or Lisa that you guys have seen come in that you'd like to grab. Oh, where did we keep our scooters?
That's a
You-
great question.
I know students can take them into their dorms with them. You're not supposed to ride them because I personally, I don't feel safe enough on a scooter, but I know there's like brakes and gas and things like that that can, you know, as you're moving your tires quickly, it can rip the carpet. But I know
Yeah.
that you can store them in your room. That's what I
Yeah.
heard.
Yep. I mean, I store mine in my office all day when I'm there. And we have students who bring them into our building as they're going up to class and they park them in the hall outside of their class.
Mhm. Yeah, and I do know we also have the bike racks, and I have a student staff member who parks his outside and just has like a regular bike type lock that he locks it up as well during the day.
There's one question on there that says, when is the payment for our semester due? August 16th, right? Yep.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and drop into the chat the events page for everybody so you can take a look at the upcoming webinars that we have. We also will include any in-person events that may be coming up. And that's where you can find all of those links for the on-demand instant replays of all the previous webinars that we've had within the past couple of months. Having said that, Lisa, do you have any final words for tonight?
Yeah, if we didn't get to your question tonight, or if you had a really specific question that you didn't think was answered by this webinar, just contact the Students First Center tomorrow. Again, we know a lot of information, and if we aren't the right place to contact, we're going to get you to the right place to contact. So you don't need to know how to navigate all the things. We will help you navigate. I have a lot of alumni on our team. We have a lot of students who work in our office, so they can also answer like the fun questions too. Like, what was it like living in the dorms at UC Merced? You know, what's it like being in a sorority or fraternity? We have a lot of knowledge in our department, so feel free to contact us and ask us things.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Lisa, for your fantastic presentation tonight, for our friend Chris for joining us on screen, and of course, everyone that's been behind the scenes with us. Couple quick updates or reminders before we do log off with you this evening. We've said it a few times, we can never say it enough. SIR, that deadline for the statement of intent to register is June 1st, 11:59 p.m. That is Pacific time. Of course, you don't have to wait until June 1st, right? A second before, right? Before 11:59 and have everything crash on your computer. Go ahead and take a moment, do that at your earliest convenience. But that deadline again is June 1st, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. We also want to make sure that you do take a look in that chat box here before we do end our session. Click on all of those links that we have been sending your way. You'll be able to then breeze through those at your convenience as soon as we log off with you here. One last thing, and I will send this link over right now. If you have not had a chance yet to visit our beautiful campus, you still have time. So we offer campus tours every single day. We even offer them in Spanish. So if you would like to have a tour given to you and your family in Spanish, you can make that request and we will make sure that we do that for you. And that link is over in chat. Go ahead and hop over, get yourself scheduled. If you, like I said, haven't had a chance yet to step foot on our beautiful campus, we love to show it off to people. And who better than our new incoming class of Bobcats. Lastly, like I said, we do also have that events page over there for on-demand instant replays. The one tonight, we've been recording this as well, so it will be over there here in just the next couple of days. Having said that, we always have so much fun here, and we hope to see you again very soon in another virtual event, or even better if we can meet you in person. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thanks again, Lisa, and we will see you all soon. Have a great night.